I first seen you, it was on Facebook, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Then you invited me out to the grassroots hip hop celebration.
Yes.
And right. Your music was attracted to me. So, like, what inspired you to like even like do music like in the first place? Like, have you always been like, you know, attached to music or?
Yeah. I've always been musically inclined.
Okay.
I have to give a shout out to my mother for her vinyl collection.
Okay. Yeah.
Her vinyl collection. I think it was like a Kenwood or something like that. You know, played the records on Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie Wonder. She the one introduced me to, you know, Rakim. I think it was Eric B and Rakim, Guru, Jazz Mataz.
You naming all the people.
I mean, even X-Plan, you know what I'm saying? And so Rakim really made me want to write and rap. And then Stevie taught me how to write, you know, ballads.
Okay.
So I've had it since a child.
So did you go to school for it, or was it something that you just always had instilled in you?
It was really early on. I gravitated towards instruments a little later, like in elementary school. I had a black music teacher. Shout out to Mr. Harris. That was in Flint, Michigan. And, you know, he really gave the discipline aspect of it. That was like middle school. I took to the saxophone.
Okay.
My mother instilled jazz in me as well.
Okay.
So that I wanted to take to the saxophone for that reason, and yeah.
So going back, naming like Rakim and them, and you saying your mom had those vinyls and stuff, I can actually relate because my mom had like every single cassette tape of like anybody that you wanted to listen to between like Boogie Down Production, EMPD, KRS-One, and like everybody. Yeah, I definitely can feel the style of your music. What about you, Sam?
Yo, listen, you heard me back here always talking, you know what I'm saying? And she started talking about Eric B. And you know, she started going back to the old school cats. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell my age, but I'm just saying, you know, I was around when all that was happening, you know, and that means that she got the true essence of hip hop. She kind of knows what hip hop is. So for her to start writing and wanted to produce and all of those things that inspired her at that time, she got inspired by the best. You know what I mean?
So tell us about your culture a little bit. I know you're not from Arizona, right? You're from Peoria, correct?
Yep, born in Peoria, Illinois. Shout out to anybody from Peoria who's listening, you know, got my heart, special place. I moved away early, so I was raised in Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's where I got a lot of my, you know, influence in music, like marching band and stuff like that, and the instrumentation. Patrice Rushen got me into instrumentation.
Wow.
You know, Forget Me Not and all that. So I'm just saying, she amazed me. And I said, what? She produced? You know, I'm reading the credits on the album. And I'm like, the what and the what? Writing and production? I said, that's fire.
Right.
So, you know, seeing her do that got me into instrumentation and production. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Steve.
So did you ever pick up an instrument?
I did. I landed with the saxophone. I started off with violin. I tried the French horn, the baritone. And then I said, well, you know, I love like jazz and hip hop jazz, like Guru, like I said, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to see what the saxophone does. So I stayed with that like throughout school.
Okay.
So didn't take it with me beyond high school.
And that's very, I don't want to say it's rare, but that's different from when you chose Guru because you like the jazz infused with the hip hop. A lot of artists don't hear it like that. A lot of artists don't really understand what that's all about, and it seemed like you took to that quite naturally.
I mean, my mother put it in me. I have to say, you know, she loved music. She medicated with that. Like, she really did. You know what I'm saying? Because we grew up in the, you know, projects, Taft Homes. That's where I grew up at. Mm-hmm. And, you know what I'm saying, the paint chipping off the building kind of situation. You know what I mean? Like, just looking destitute or whatnot. But it was a lot of pain going on out there. And in each apartment, you had a different story.
Okay.
And you know how it is, like, you know, where we got hip hop from, you know, the jazz, the blues, the spirituals.
Absolutely. It comes from everywhere.
It comes from everywhere.
Rock.
Yeah.
You know,
all
country.
Of that. All of it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when those situations are going on and you want to pull your heart out, right, to combat it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get it from. So I think it was a natural combination, you know, for me to fall in love with music because I've seen its power to take us away from a certain reality, right? But also, you know, give us hope. And like I said, Stevie, he wasn't no joke.
Nah.
It wasn't no joke.
Stevie was the man.
He was the man. And so, it really helped me.
So, like, even in, like, all of that, because I know you produce, right, too?
Yes.
So, you created your own beats and different things like that to kind of, like, collaborate with your own, like, with your own style of music and different things of that sort.
Yeah.
Now, that's super dope, too. That's different when you can just actually create your own style to your own rhythm of music.
Yeah, it's freedom, right?
Yeah.
And, communicating an idea. When you're a child, you don't really have people putting a lot of limitations, and your mind doesn't really have, limitations. It's when you get out into society and then you learn that you can't do this or you can't do that or you shouldn't or that's strange or that's different. It's a blessing to keep your inner child in the midst of all that noise, too.
Okay. So, like in your scenery of music and different things like that, like what is your mindset and like your mind frame when you're like in the studio recording? Do you have to have a lot of people in the studio, or are you in there by yourself, or do you kind of like to be relaxed, or you just get in there and just get in and get out and do your thing?
I did a lot of my recording at home in solitude.
Okay.
Actually, Serafina's song I did in my bedroom. Shout out to the bedroom producers. That the carpet and the curtains and the bed and everything is good to absorb sound and frequency. You get that good sound or whatever. But so I did a lot of my recordings at home, and I don't need a lot because sometimes it's a silence too that that you need in solitude. And I have a strange fact. I used to write a lot by listening to, and I'm not trying to tell my age either, but I used to listen to, we had the the Walkmans or what have you, or the radio, the cassette, dual cassette, and you turn the channel on your radio station in between, so you just get the static.
Right.
And when you catch that white noise, I would hear so many melodies, and I just get to writing.
Just to write.
Yeah.
That's super, super dope. So speaking of that, you being a producer, you being a songwriter, you also sing as well too, right?
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that. Do you incorporate the singing into your, your raps and different things of that stuff?
Absolutely. It's hard not to. It's hard not to.
A man saying she got everything.
No,
she's more like a floor tree. Like she got everything. Like
shout out to
singing,
floor
right?
tree. Yeah, man.
No, I'm absolutely checking her script. You know what I'm saying? And like I kind of wanted to go back, because like she talked a little bit about some of the things that have inspired her to be able to write the music that she did, and I know a lot of that comes from experiences that's where you come from, and like me, I produce the best when sometimes from pain. Like a lot of times you take pain and you kind of flip it into something different. You know what I'm saying? Because you're hurting so bad, you gotta have an outlet. I need you to speak to that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I know coming up, like you said, coming up out of Peoria, I've been to Peoria, so I know.
Okay, you been. You know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a quite traveled young man over here. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And I've been to Peoria, and I kind of know what Peoria is a little bit about. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Richard Pryor.
Yes, right.
Richard Pryor is from Peoria, and I've been there to the house and the whole nine and all that. I wasn't hanging out, so don't think I'm not old, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It was just a thing that I did. You know what I mean? But I want you to tell a story about some of the things that you've experienced through life and coming up in Peoria, and how that had an influence on the music that you make and the way that you think about putting your music in.
Wow. So I've said, just a little bit before that, like the apartment complex I grew up in had different stories. And so being able to see firsthand a lot of pain next door, across the walk, on your way home, how it is. Some people may have not experienced having to duck, from gunshots in your tub, having to get into the tub. Yeah. Or the new neighborhood dope dealer, that comes in and your mama's like, stay away from him, but all the girls don't. Yeah. We don't. We trying to get close.
Right.
Just a lot. But, experiencing the culture, the brothers who had the steps going up like Gumby up their head, you know what I'm saying, with the blonde streak and dancing and pop locking in the streets. We had that as well. But going back to pain, I've learned that, I think Michael Jackson said this. He said that pain was a mother of creativity. Pain was a mother of creativity. And just like you said, brother, you know, just growing up around those circumstances, and then a longing for your people to, you know, be at a more peaceful state. You know, it's not, you know, how you're supposed to live. So you're looking for the cure. You're looking for the answers. Right. And I've seen people like Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder as presenting a balm, or, you know, like a healing. You know, the content, you know, Michael Jackson, he sung to humanity. And, you know, just really listening to that and seeing these particular artists as like being superheroes because it was a superpower. You know, you take all of the stuff that's going on in my reality, and then you create this magic that has everybody on the same frequency. Right. You know?
That's inside of you.
Yes. Yes, that's inside of us. And I said, well, I want to, you know, tap into that, and I want to contribute to that. But I've experienced a lot, you know, pain. Just being a woman in the hood, right, that's painful. Right. That's painful. You know, losing a lot of friends. Because even from Peoria and going into Flint, a lot of my people in high school, like, they not here. Right. We know that, you know, they're not here. Domestic violence or police altercation, suicide. You know what I'm saying? That's pain.
Yeah, no question. And so you sent up a track. What is the name of the track? It's ASE? Ace?
Ashe.
Listen, that's why we ask. That's why we make sure we get it right. I need you to go into that. Tell me, you know, where did the idea come from, the track? You know what I'm saying? Who's on it? You know, what was the inspiration to it? You tell the story, and then I'm gonna cue it up. We're gonna bring that.
All right, let me try to get through this as quickly as possible because it's long. No, but there was a brother, may God rest his soul, a brother, a good friend, visual artist and bass player named Brother Jackie Andre Muhammad, beloved in Phoenix, Arizona by the artist community. He was a bad bass player, spiritual bass player. And I was listening to bass riffs and things, you know, in my production process. And I heard this texture and I said, man, I want to make something out of that. And so I reached in, I just added like conga drums to it and hats and shakers. I wanted something because he passed on. Okay. And so when I heard that bass, it reminded me of him. And I said, well, now it's time for me to sing a little more because he wanted me to sing a little more. And it came together, and it's called Ashe. And because of the meaning of it, it is to pretty much, you know, make a new reality, to say be it as it is, be and it is as a people. You know, it's an affirmation of calling something into reality. Like, okay, we want this, you know, it comes from inside and we can make it a reality. So, you know, and continuing on his legacy in our conversations. And so I dropped a lot of things that we talked about, you know, things that come from our teachings. And it's called Ashe. So it's a very peaceful vibe. And I'm singing. That's
cool.
I love that.
Here we go for all my listeners out here. Here's Arian Nicole, Ashe. Let's get it. Your mics are dead, so you can talk. Whatever.
Okay. It's all my face, respect, triple black. Keeping my woman who intact with the honors of my mother, I get right, but I'm free.
That was inspired by Erica.
I'm not sure what you've been told, but I'm the key to a whole new world.
Love that.
Try not to turn it up, go crazy, because something is in my ears. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stay focused here. You know what I mean?
Mother goes into power forever.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about, Sonny. You ever seen Sonny?
Ashe. Let's just grab the sage and just like,
Listen, man.
light one and just sit back and vibe to Ashe. That was beautiful, Queen.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It's dope to be able to share.
And it puts me in the spirit, it puts me in the mind where not only you're being artistic about what you're doing, but it also seems to me that you're also teaching as you're singing. And a lot of people miss that. So I know that's a part of what you do. Yeah. So I need you to elaborate on that a little bit, because I know you teach. You have to.
Man, we have to. Because again, when we look at our magnificence as a people, and you want us to know and hold our heads high, right? In a whole society that's saying that, you're nothing. Yeah. You're invisible. Right. They treat us that way, you know what I'm saying? Because when we cry out and we want justice, it's not heard. So that means what? Who am I? And so we want to really, tap in to the minds and the heart, of our people. I think that's the power of being able to get on the microphone and speaking to millions. Whew, like what you gonna say when you get that opportunity?
Ashe.
What you gonna say?
Ashe.
So, I mean, that kind of is a really perfect segue into the next question that I gotta ask you. How did that feel with the nominated for the Mayor's Arts Award? I think you resident of Phoenix, and you was nominated for the Mayor's Art Award. Like, how did that come about? You tell me the story.
So that, being involved in, a lot of arts and cultural activities and things like that, and just wanting to, continue work that I did in Flint, Michigan.
Right.
Okay. I have to go back to that now. I did nonprofit work in Flint, Michigan. I work with young women.
Okay.
The program was called Change. It was a self-image and hip-hop discourse. And I would go to the Urban League of Flint. And, we had teenage women, preteens. We would sit in a study group or a dialogue, around the conference room table. And we would go over lyrics, in hip-hop. And then certain things, within culture and dialogue, like, how is this impacting our self-image?
Right.
So we had a lot of deep conversations and, just taking that from Flint and just always wanting to, be the change.
Right.
Like, how can I be the change? And I have sisters.
Yeah.
I have sisters.
And see that's the beautiful thing about that, because we need more goddesses and queens. We need more queens stepping up to the plate to help out our other queens and different things of what they're going through, and whether it be through music, whether it be through talking, whether it be through teaching, whether it be through mentoring, we need that.
We need it. We absolutely need it. I mean, it's so heavy. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's real. It's real out here.
It's
real out here.
And that's what I was actually digging for. You know what I mean? Because I kind of knew it. I could kind of hear it. And I wanted you to kind of express it a little bit, because I like, once again, me personally, I say this all the time, that a lot of things that we do in life, there's always somebody watching us.
Absolutely.
And because there's somebody watching us, granted, there are times in our lives where we're not thinking of ourselves as setting an example for those that come up behind us. But once you become knowledgeable that you are being watched, once you become conscious of the fact that there is somebody predicating their life on what they see you doing, it's a beautiful thing, Arian, to see you, you know what I'm saying, to do the different things that you're doing. I see that you was involved with the founding of the Grassroots.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
You gotta,
we gotta talk about Grassroots.
Right, which we were just at that too, Grassroots Hip Hop Celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, yeah. So this work comes from the Phoenix LLC.
Okay.
I'm a part of the Phoenix LLC, and that is a movement that was born out of, really the origin was the Million Man March. Okay. Then you have the Millions More movement, and then you have the Justice or Else movement. So it was stage after stage after stage of pretty much getting our community to take control over our community, right? Okay. So if we can't get justice, can we give ourselves justice? Right? Yes. Can we look, inside internally and build the community that we are, asking others to give to us when they won't, right? So the bookstore comes out of that, and we have 9 ministries And then if you think of the significance of 9, you have 9, systems of the body.
Yeah.
And so we as a people, we are a body, collectively. And so those 9 ministries, you have agriculture, you have defense, you have spirituality, you have arts and culture, you have trade and commerce, everything that a nation needs to run. We have that within our own, right, people. And so the bookstore comes from the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, and then also education, right, of course. And so the Hip Hop Festival came out of our need to, control our narrative.
Okay.
I was thinking about that, very heavy. It didn't just come up. I was working towards it maybe since 2007 or 2008. We had a movement about, artists, being accountable for the messages that we send. And we had a conference in Miami and, just trying to do little things to help change the culture. You find out that you need your own venue. We need to own, right, our own venues to get the message out that we want to get on. You can't get yanked or pulled or silenced or your mic cut off, right? And so grassroots, I'm like, we have our own venue. Okay. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not huge, but it is what it is because we have, our authors, our scholars telling the history, right? We're writing it and owning our narrative, and hip hop is so important. And so KRS-One, he gave the definition of hip hop back in Flint, Michigan. The teacher. He said, hip was for intelligent and hop was for movement. So it's intelligent movement. I was blessed to come across recently some of our early rappers, like from the 1940s.
Okay.
If you go to my page on Facebook, people was sharing like, the brothers were singing, like the doo-wop, and the brother was like rapping, in the middle, and he was, it's like a spiritual thing, teaching and preaching and, swinging and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, my God, this goes back. And so is that being told, though? Is that being preserved, like the origin? Because when you know where your culture comes from, you have a better chance for preserving it, maintaining it, controlling it, passing it on to your youth in the way that it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
It's about,
and it's almost kind of like it's that saying too. Instead of leaving a better planet for our kids, our children, it's time to leave better children for our planet. To be able to, so when we're gone, they can take on that, and being able to be in that positive mind state and positive, just everything. Yes. And just living in their truth and speaking in their truth.
Yes.
And being able to do what they love from within.
Within.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, no question. So let's get to the next track. Let's talk about what is it, Serafina's song?
Oh man, yeah, Serafina.
Yeah. Let's just set it up. Let us know. What was the thought process behind that?
All right, I have to shout out one of the sisters I was working with in the Change Program in Flint. This was like a couple years ago, and she sent me a message. There was a young girl. She sent me a YouTube video of a young sister. She was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, in a bikini or something, in a tub full of money, and I said, wow, wow. And it was adults filming.
Right.
So I'm like, wow, what is this? And so I questioned myself. I said, well, what women do we have that will give them a different directive, or a different example? And so I created a song saying, I am Sojourner Truth. I am Asada Shakur. Ida B. Wells. Heaven knows we need more. If we not rhyming for the people, then what are we rhyming for? I hit them straight in their heart like a Serafina song. Serafina. Serafina was a movie about a sister in South Africa. South African apartheid was going on. Shout out to my sister Bianca Duda. She's, if you're watching, she's in South Africa. Very powerful activist and former radio host out there. And yeah, so Serafina's song comes from that movie. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. Whoopi Goldberg is in it. Okay. But it was about, the young sister, they used arts and culture to captivate the movement against oppression. It was a young sister. That was the first time I seen a Black woman on the screen really advocating on behalf of a people being oppressed through music. I said, oh, this is it. And so that's why I called it Serafina's song.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So for all my listeners out there, y'all get to hear it first, right here, Media Made Music, Seraphina's Song by Arian Nicole.
I am sojourner truth, I am a science core. I to be well, heaven knows we need more. If you ain't rhyming for the people, then what are you rhyming for? I feel straight and they hard like Seraphina's song. I am sojourner truth, I am a science core. I to be well, heaven knows we need more. If you ain't rhyming for the people, then what are you rhyming for? I hit them straight and they hard like Seraphina's song. I'm woke up.
Yep.
About the condition of my people. Got a couple millionaires, but we still ain't equal. Humanity is crying, all their governments are equal.
You can see that, and then that's one of the things that we love to do up here. We love to sit down and have a conversation. You know, we don't want to talk about all the, all that nonsense and whatever. We want to talk about what's real. We want to talk about your journey, and I see that you are having a wonderful, wonderful journey through this. So what's next? Like, I mean, you're doing music, you produce. What don't you do? What do you want to do?
I mean, we got some acting in the works, or I mean,
no, that'd be really dope. But we're planning on a monthly series at Grassroots, and we definitely want to incorporate acting, an embodiment of certain ancestors, if you will.
Okay.
Within that music and hip hop and poetry series. And so, we just really want to connect the dots, with our ancestors in arts and culture, like our Nita Simone's, our Paul Robesons, and, teach the youth.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever, I don't know if you have, but have you ever thought about doing a grassroots hip hop tour? Like, just going around, like, a tour? That would be super dope.
You almost letting the cat out of the bag a little bit.
Well, tell us about it,
No, that's definitely a plan, and it's a part of the vision.
Okay.
Just taking it, step by step, because I'm growing too. And like my brother said, it is therapeutic, but it's a lot of, like we said too, it's a labor of love.
Yes.
Because just because I'm in this arena, or with a certain spirit, it doesn't mean it's not a trial for me to turn down things that I've had to turn down, to stay this course, or to be in a certain environment, where I don't compromise. It's not all flowers.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's sacrifice for a greater cause. So.
And it's funny that you spoke on that, Sonny. That was a conversation that we was actually having on the way up here.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you touched on that, about the different things that we do and many sacrifices that we have to make. And a lot of people don't see, when they see the finished product, they think that's easy to do. They have no idea. They have no idea what it takes for you to be who you are. Like, they just see you, and they're not saying you're a finished product when they see you, but you just make it look so easy.
I heard it's a lot of quotes I guess we can look up, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, what they talk about greatness and the pain, and if you don't want the pain, then you don't want the greatness. And sometimes you don't really seek greatness. You just want to do great things, and you don't know how, and you have to do what it takes to do those things. But it's like also too, nobody sit really and watches except, agricultural farmers, a seed turn into a flower.
Right.
It's a lot of things happening underground. You got to get through, the pest that's trying to eat away at the leaves and the fruit, and the times where the sun, is too hot, or the rain is too heavy, or no rain at all. And it's a lot that goes into growth, and a lot of it isn't really meant to be, seen. It's what your purpose is.
Yeah, it's definitely healing, and it's a heal. We're constantly healing every day. So.
We are
music
healing.
is very healing and very,
it is. Yeah.
Like you said, therapeutic. Like, I'm still like on high from it. So it's a beautiful thing.
And it's always good to have somebody that just inspires you. There's always some great inspiration. Sometimes we have guests up here. I want to put them out. I swear I do. But I got to stay professional, and this is what I do. But having you grace us with your presence today is a beautiful thing. I swear to God, I can listen to Arian Nicole all day, Like, just put that on and just let it play. And y'all back up and leave me alone and let me create, because there's gonna be
skips. No skips.
So I got a question for you. All right, And I ask a lot of my artists this question, and let me see what the answer that I'm gonna get from you. If you had an opportunity to perform with an artist, dead or alive, past or present, who would that artist be, and why?
Wow. That's real tough because it's a toss up between Michael Jackson and Tupac, right?
Wow, my favorite rapper.
Man, it's
Just choose them both.
Yeah, we can choose. Yeah, choose them both.
And tell me, and explain to me a little bit on why you would love to be on stage to perform with both of those artists.
Michael Jackson is definitely like the archangel of sound. He just tapped into the essence of music. And like I said before, the universality of music. When we come out of our mother's womb and we cry or breathe in that breath of air, everyone does it. That's a universal thing. And then when we leave, we exhale. Everyone does it. It's a universal thing. Right. But all in between life, everybody is here, there, disunited and chaos. And music kind of silences that, right? And brings us all into one accord. Michael did that.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. One thing I could say about Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson always stayed in his truth. He never changed or switched up for anybody. If it was something that he wanted to do, bring out music wise, he did that, and he didn't compromise himself for anybody, no one. He always stayed true to who he was.
Facts. Yeah. Same for Pac.
Absolutely.
I felt Pac. That's one reason. I felt him. I felt him. You know what I mean? And then his history, his mother, activism and being in the blood. And so definitely why I would choose both of those artists.
Okay.
Great pick.
Yeah.
So, are we gonna get another song in? We got enough time. We got enough time for the third one, or we
gonna get another song in. We absolutely gonna get that third song in because listen, I'm loving all this. You know what I'm saying? And so the last song is gonna be the word, but we're gonna wait and get to that.
Okay.
Before we get to that song, I want her to talk about. I want the Queen to talk about a little bit about what you're doing down at the Grassroots place. I know we've kind of touched upon it throughout the course of this interview, whatever, but I want you to speak in your words on what you're doing down at the Grassroots, your activism. If you got kids that need to come down, or if there's some type of program, you tell us what's happening, and then we gonna help lead that way.
So please be on the lookout. We're formulating it now. A Black music camp.
Okay.
In partnership with Grassroots, myself, I'm doing some study, like I said before, on our historic greats, within the arts, within music, who had a message in the music, and just so that we can understand that we ain't just, land here like we come from a place. We're on our way to somewhere, and we can't be distracted from our goal, what belongs to us, right? And that is, freedom, justice, and equality. And our children in this culture, it's warfare. I have children. I have sons. I have all boys.
Okay.
And seeing what's happening, to our men, our young men within this culture, as a mother, I feel like, I'm in music for that reason. I'm in music for the reason, to help, especially with the children. I did a set, my set, during the hip hop celebration. I found myself really rapping about the children and rapping about the culture. I didn't plan it that way, but I said, wow, a lot of my songs are about that. I said, the culture is corrupt and I'm concerned about the children. Teach them the importance and the power of the vision, and we have to pass it on. We have to know that, the culture is not for us. I don't know what this is. Yeah. It's not a culture.
And that's why when I touched on that, leaving better children for our planet, we have to. We have to, because they're our children of the future. And without them, there is no us.
There is no us. We got to take control. Yeah. We have to take control.
And the more you talk, the more I hear stuff that you know what I mean? Because I'm very observant about a lot of the things that I do, and just hearing you talk. Now, you also do spoken word.
I do. Some of it is private. I have a lot of stuff I hoard, y'all, to myself. I'm gonna try.
I can peel the onion back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep it official in here, though. But I can hear that, and I can hear that you also speak spoken word, and it sounds like it'll be a beautiful thing to actually hear you speak, you know, and that's just me. That's just my personal.
I have a show, a spoken word performance coming up October 6th.
See?
Just keep following my socials. I'll drop where it's going to be.
Okay, okay. October the 6th, y'all better stay tuned. I know.
All I gotta do is keep it talking. Good, Sam. Ariana, let me just say this. You know, before we go, I need you to shout out and plug everything and everybody that's helped you get to the place to where you are today.
Oh, wow. Okay. Shout out to Stevie Wonder. Shout out to everybody. You know, shout out to my mom. I love you, Mom. You know, record, you know, and the record player and the atmosphere you surrounded me with, giving me the Click series, teaching me, you know, When Black Men Ruled the World, that series when I was 7 and 8 years old. Putting that artwork all around us, you know, in our living room of the pyramids and the Sphinx, and just, you know, giving us, you know, that atmosphere. My grandmother, you know, God rest her soul, for being that modest and beautiful woman, you know, that you were, and the smile that was on her face when she heard one of my jazz records before she passed on. It's all about making mama and grandma proud, you know, and so that lingers on with me. Thank you to my mentors. I'm giving a shout out to Kevin Shine of Writing Sessions America. Okay. I'm giving a shout out to my teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, big giant, okay?
Shout out to Minister Farrakhan.
And, you know, just love, and, you know, the Phoenix LOC. My husband, who's supportive, okay?
Yeah.
He's supportive.
Yeah.
I have to really say this because when you look at, like, you know, amazing, phenomenal, you know, women talent, and you think about like Nina Simone or Tina Turner, or just, you know, sexism and, you know, just we just being real, and, you know, I don't have to deal with those things. You know what I'm saying? So that's a blessing. And, you know, just giving a shout out, you know, my lovely son, he's talented, you know, self-taught on the piano. My oldest boy, my family, and you know, if I forget anyone, you know, blame it on my mind, not my heart.
Well, what I want to say to you, Queen, is, you know, don't stop your light, don't stop your truth. They may be able to stop some of us, but they can't stop all of us, because we all a nation.
That's right.
We stand 10 toes.
10 toes. 10 toes.
They can, you know, they can't stop us. So,
that's right.
You know, you keep doing that, and you keep putting that music out there for them.
I received that. Thank you.
No doubt. And of course, before we go, like I say this all the time. May you be blessed in all the things that you do every day that you do them, and may you prosper in each and everything that you do each and every day that you do it, and may you always be blessed. Yeah.
Thank you.
And now a little bit of that. The word. What did you say?
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna play this one for a second for Arian Nicole. Yeah.